Thanks for watching Afternoon Live. Can you imagine a life without your car? Our next guest certainly hope you'll consider it. Here to share why, we welcome the founders of the War on Cars podcast and authors of the new book, Life After Cars, Freeing Ourselves from the Tyranny of the Automobile, Sarah Goodyear and Doug Gordon. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for having us.
It's a pleasure.
Your podcast is so beloved. Started back in 2018. How did you guys come together on this project initially?
Well, I'm a journalist by trade, and I had been covering these issues, street safety, street policy, transportation policy, and Doug came from the advocacy side, and we decided, hey, let's try this podcast thing, and
nobody was really covering cars as this overwhelming determinative force in people's lives that shapes where you live, how and where you work, how you get to work, how you get to school, how you get food, how you have a social life. So we decided, let's cover the car as this big force in our lives in a way it probably hadn't been covered before.
Once you start to unravel it, you can kind of see all those different influences coming together, and you do it in a fun way with really cool guests. Can you share more about the format and why people love the show so much?
Well, we try to look at things not just like policy wonks and that kind of thing, but to look at the pop culture side, for instance. So we've done an episode about why are there no bike lanes in Lego City, or why does Hollywood always portray bicycle riders as losers?
Right.
So we really try to break out of the usual suspects and show people that this is something that's in everybody's life all the time, and that you can have fun talking about it.
Right.
Yeah.
So how does the book come into play? How did you guys decide to tackle this project together?
A book felt like a natural evolution of what we had been doing on the podcast. And, the podcast is a lot of fun, but a book reaches out to so many more people. We're here talking about it, for example. It's a great example of why we think it's important to have this book and get it out there. We've been doing a book tour all over the country. We've been in the Pacific Northwest, talking to not just the bike advocates and the transit advocates, but sort of the regular, slightly curious people who are like, hey, I'd like to drive a little less and not be so dependent. So the book is a really great way to reach those people.
Yeah, that's a great message. I think we could all take one little step in our lives to become less dependent on cars, and that's making an impact no matter how small, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We think of it as like Meatless Monday. You don't have to go completely vegetarian to have an impact with your personal actions. Yeah. So just go without the car every now and then.
Yeah.
And you might find that you like it, and you might want more of that.
Baby steps. You made a great stop here in town just yesterday. You joined our beloved Coach Balto and the Alameda Bike Bus. That had to be so fun.
It really was. We did have to get up early, but it was well worth it, because honestly, there is just nothing more exhilarating than riding through such a lovely neighborhood like you have here in Portland with these adorable kids, and they're having so much fun, and they're able to feel this freedom and agency that kids these days often don't have that kind of freedom.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important for them to realize, I can be in control, I can do my own thing, I can get where I'm going, and it makes them feel really good and really prepared for school as well.
Right, and people can read about his story in the book as well, because he was inspired. We know him as an online sensation, but I think he saw another viral video first, is that right?
Yeah, he saw a bike bus in Barcelona
Yeah.
that also went viral and was inspired to start one here. And now he has inspired countless bike buses around the country. So there's this great positive feedback loop. Yeah, we had a huge smile on both of our faces the entire time.
Yeah.
How could you not?
What's it like for you guys as you're touring the book and meeting people? I imagine as podcasters, people are always like, oh my gosh, I'm seeing you in real life. I can't believe that's the voice. Is it fun to interact in that way?
Absolutely, and we're meeting so many great people, and it's just really nice because it feels like we're talking to people who really need the support and the inspiration of what we're talking about, and it's just really great to connect with people personally. And yes, people do talk about the voice.
Yes.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah, I hope I don't disappoint anyone. But no, it's been so great. You have such an amazing advocacy community here in Portland,
Yeah,
like
we do.
Jonathan Moss of Bike Portland, for example. We mentioned Sam, but all of just the regular people, people in government, outside of government, doing incredible work. And we just hope that we can sort of channel some of that energy and feed off the inspiration that we're getting from everybody and inspire others.
And you have great perspective too, because I believe New York City is home to both of you currently, right? But you've lived in different places and been more dependent on cars in the past, so you understand why it can be hard for people to make a big change like this overnight.
Yeah, of course. I used to live in rural Maine. You can't live in rural Maine without a car. But it was really that experience that made me feel just how difficult car dependence is financially and safety-wise, and just the strain of having to maintain that vehicle and use it for every trip. And so I think that, you know, we like to think of people being able to do more of their trips without cars, even if it's not every trip.
Right, just one small step, right? Making your life that much less dependent on a car can make a big difference.
Yeah, you know, we like to think of cars as a tool, and sometimes they are the right tool for the job if you're going a really far distance, if you're carrying a lot of stuff that you can't otherwise lug around. But a lot of trips that people make are very short and could be done with an e-bike or a regular bicycle or by walking or transit, provided there was the good infrastructure, frequent schedules, if it was reliable and safe. And I think more people want that. The kind of driving most people do is not the kind of driving that car commercials promise them. Most driving kind of stinks. And you know, I love a good road trip just like anybody else, but I wouldn't want to have to go grocery shopping every day or commuting every day by car.
Good food for thought. Thank you both for being here so much. It was great chatting with you.
Thank you so
thanks for having us.
Okay, we'll be right back with more Afternoon Live right after this.